Page 13. The natural state. Think of God, thought of sex. The natural needs of a human being are basic: food, clothing, and shelter. You must either work for them or be given them by somebody. If these are your only needs, they are not very difficult to fulfill. To deny yourself the basic needs is not a sign of spirituality, but to require more than food, clothing, and shelter is an erotic state of mind. Is not sex a basic human requirement? Sex is dependent upon love. In the natural state, there is no build-up of love. Without that build-up, sex is impossible. The body normally is a very peaceful organism, and then you subject it to this tremendous tension and release, which feels pleasurable to you. Actually, it is painful to the body. But through suppression or attempts at sublimation of sex, you will never come into this state. As long as you think of God, you will have thought of sex. Ask any religious seeker you may know who practices celibacy whether he doesn't dream of women at night. Why do you wave so many taboos and ideas around this? Why do you destroy the joy of sex? Not that I'm advocating indulgence or promiscuity, but through abstinence and continence you will never achieve a thing. There must be a living contact. There are no images here. There is no room for them. The sensory apparatus is completely occupied with the things I am looking at now. And so, if you are totally tuned into the sensory activity, there is no room for fears about who will feed you tomorrow or for speculation about God, truth and reality. This is not a state of omniscience, wherein all of men's eternal questions are answered, rather a state in which the questioning has stopped. It has stopped because those questions have no relation to the way the organism is functioning. In the way the organism is functioning leaves no room for those questions. The body has an extraordinary mechanism for renewing itself. This is necessary because the senses in the natural state are functioning at the peak of their sensitivity all the time. So when the senses become tired, the body goes through death. This is real physical death, not some mental state. It can happen one or more times a day. You do not decide to go through this death. It descends upon you. It feels, at first, as if you had been given an anesthetic. The senses become increasingly dull. The heartbeat slows. The feet and hands become ice cold, and the whole body becomes stiff like a corpse. Energy flows from all over the body towards some point. It happens differently every time. The stream of stuff continues, but there is no reading of the stuff. At the end of this period, you come out. The stream of stuff is cut. There is no way of knowing how long that cut lasts. There is nothing you can say about the time of being conquered. That can never become part of your conscious existence or conscious thinking. You don't know what brings you back from death. If you had any will at that moment, you could decide not to come back. When the conking out is over, the stream of stuff picks up exactly where it left off. The darkness ends and clarity returns. The body feels very stiff, then slowly it begins to move of its own accord, limbering itself up. It is an extraordinary movement. Those who have observed my body moving say it looks like the motions of a newly born baby. This conking out gives a total renewal of the senses, glands, and nervous system. After it, they function at the peak of their sensitivity. Life is action. Questioning your actions is destroying the expression of life. A person who lets life act in its own way without the protective movement of stuff has no self to defend. What is keeping you from being in your natural state? You are constantly moving away from yourself. You want to be happy either permanently or at least for this moment. You are dissatisfied with your everyday experiences, and so you want some new ones. You want to perfect yourself, to change yourself. You are reaching out, trying to be something other than what you are. It is this that is taking you away from yourself. Society has put before you the ideal of a perfect man, no matter in which culture you were born. You have scriptural doctrines and traditions handed down to you to tell you how to behave. You are told that through due practice you can even eventually come into the state attained by the saints and saints. And so you try to control your behavior, to control your thought, to be something unnatural. Your effort to control life has created a secondary movement of stuff within you which you call the self. This movement of stuff within you is parallel to the movement of life but isolated from it. It can never touch life. You are a living creature, yet you lead your entire life within the realm of this isolated, parallel movement of stuff. You cut yourself off from life. That is something very unnatural. The natural state is not a thoughtless state. This is one of the greatest hoaxes perpetrated for thousands of years. You will never be without thought. Being able to think is necessary to survive, but in this state, thought stops choking you. It falls into its natural rhythm. This is the crux of the world problem. The one that is looking at what you call the self is the self. It is creating an illusory division of itself into subject and object, and through this division it is continuing. This is the divisive nature that is operating in you, in your consciousness. Continuity of its existence is all that interests it. As long as you want to understand yourself or to change yourself into something spiritual, into something holy, beautiful, or marvelous, you will continue. If you do not want to do anything about it, it is not there. It's gone. Through thinking you cannot understand a thing. You are translating what I am saying in terms of the knowledge you already have, just as you translate everything else, because you want to get something out of it. When you stop doing that, that is what I am describing. The absence of what you are doing, trying to understand or trying to change yourself, is the state of being that I am describing. Because you are not interested in the everyday things and happenings around you. You have invented the beyond, timelessness, God, truth, reality, enlightenment, or whatever, and search for it.